Hello everybody, welcome back again to Learning Lockdown with me, Matt. So we've had a look. These intros are going to be a little bit longer because I keep recapping what we've looked at, but very briefly, hammers and pulls and slides we had a look at our first one. Hammers on, pulls off and slides. We looked at vibrato versus tremolo, and we looked at bending. And now, today, we're going to have a look at palm muting as part of our technique series. We've got quite a few more as well. I've got loads of little techniques and things that I use that hopefully help your playing and your style evolve and flourish. So, palm muting, this is a big one for me. Big one. If you get this right, it can make your playing sound a lot more a lot more controlled and a lot more kind of upmarket, I suppose. So, how do we do it? How do we palm mute? And what does it sound like? What is it? So basically what it is, it's muting a string slightly, not completely, because if we mute a string, you get nothing, right? If we mute it a little bit, instead of you getting this attack, you get a slight mute. That's a bit of noise on. Noise on my track there. Interesting. Okay, we'll roll with it. So how do we do it? What we do, we use our palm. Funnily enough, we use this edge of your palm on. I'm going to show you in this camera actually. On just where the bridge meets the beginning of the strings. So you place your palm there, right on the edge. So you'll find you can rest quite nicely as well. Just rest your hand and play while it's on those muted on that bridge. I would say to find the sound that you're looking for, start off palm muting in one place next to the bridge, slowly move up and back again, and find on your guitar where it sounds just right for a palm mute. So what should it sound like? I'm going to play the E chord, which is I'm just going to play two notes actually. Two notes. The open of the E, the lowest string, and fret 2. So making two of those notes from that power chord. I know we were saying we play them like this, which we do. When you get down to here though, with that ring finger, it's just easier to play it like that. You see a lot of people do it, and actually a lot of I guess rock bands will play just the two notes of that power chord. I guess digressing a little bit, but it's good to know that you might see some people playing the power chord as we said, but all you've got is the root note on your index finger, the fifth on your ring, and then the root note again but an octave higher on your little finger. Some people just decide to take that higher root note out and just play index and little finger on that fret there and just play two notes, and you end up, rather than going all the way down there, you just use that there. So it's quicker, that's why they do it. So that's the chord I'm going to be playing. Just open and 2, and palm muting them with my palm on the bridge, and we'll hear this. Instead of, so you can hear. You might think that sounds really heavy. It can do if you put loads of gain on it, like I do. But if we could take a bit of the gain off, I guess. But classic track. I want to show you with this one, just to show you why people do it. Recognise this one, Barracuda. It's a cool effect. That's what it gives you. It gives you this muted. If you were to play that open, you can't hear the separation of the notes. So if you played that with just without the muting, all you'd end up hearing, if you couldn't hear my pick through the microphone, on the actual track will be, if I try and do it without pick, you can't hear that separation. Whereas when you palm mute, and then when you come out of that palm mute as well and you play a chord, it gives it more resonance and more, I guess, emphasis in the song to be like, that's what we were heading towards. And there's loads of bands that do it. You'll recognise it now when you hear. You know, those kinds of tracks. Trying to think of some now. You can, you know, you can play with that palm mute. You can mess around with it as to where you use it. Some bands will use that palm mute for verses and then use the same chords and not palm mute for the chorus, and you've got yourself a verse and a chorus. Job done. So you could use that. Let's think of a chord pattern. A lot of punk rock bands, really simply, if you're making a very basic song, would be use your power chord, fret 3 higher, 2 frets up, fret 5 and fret 5 higher. So on that E string, fret 5 on there, and then fret 5 and 7 on the A string. Make a box. You could do the same thing and use fret 1 on those 2 strings, and fret 3. It works, but you could end up with something like that. You can ease off slowly. You know, very easy to do. I guess the classics though, you know, like that Barracuda. You know, there's so much going towards that lots of different little parts that like that, the chords that they've chosen, the place they choose to come out of that palm mute to the actual chords, and then sliding back down again. You know, it's I guess a classic iconic kind of thing. That's more what you're looking for. But when you choose to palm mute, you could do parts of a solo as well. Or even if you're practicing some of those scales, they sound quite cool palm muted. So if I palm mute here, just where I mentioned before, just normal palm mute, just giving that muting, and play that G major scale that we were learning. Instead of I think it sounds cool. Sounds a little bit tidier as well, I suppose. I tend to, if I'm playing a solo, palm mute. Again, I guess I have different ideas on these wound strings, but I tend to palm mute the wound ones and not the higher ones. So you end up with a bit of dynamic, I suppose. There you go, that's palm muting. So yeah, rest your palm there, and the further you go up, the more mute you've got, and you're getting no sound at all. Come back towards the bridge and just resting your palm on those strings. I'll show you in that one again. Come back towards the bridge, and it lets you can feel it. Lets the vibration of the string through more. And if you go all the way back and keep going, then it lets the whole thing ring. So it's just how much muting you're putting on the string. You could also push harder, I suppose, but actually saying that, I don't push very hard at all, and I've just heard it. If you do push, you're bending the string, and you get different notes. So don't do that. Don't press hard. Same idea. Don't press too hard on the frets either. Just nice, just to push them down just enough. Makes you quick as well. So yeah, that's palm muting. Definitely a good technique to practice and get into the habit of resting your hand when you're hitting those strings as well. Really useful for I guess just general muting. So when you're playing something like, you can actually move that further up for the muting instead of playing. You can bring that down and deaden. You can make some quite cool. You get a bit more dynamic from muting, and then when you bring it back down again, you've got that palm mute there as well. So definitely, when you hear that palm mute on a song, don't ignore it. Put in a bit more practice in it, and learn that technique, because it can take your playing from amateur to pro, definitely. And make it sound really good if you're muting the right strings at the right time, and if you're palm muting and adding more dynamic to your playing, allowing those crescendos and so on to build in the song to kind of release in the chorus, etc. It can create more emotion in the song. So definitely practice that one, and that's palm muting. Can't emphasise the importance enough, can I, on that one? But there you go. And yeah, so see you next time for another video, which is going to be on alternate picking. So we're going to talk about picking again, but I'm going to show you some techniques on some different ideas and how you can pick to make your playing faster, and get some more of those solos out. And like I said, I think when we finish these technique videos, we'll do a solo. I'll pick a solo or a couple, and we'll learn them with all of these techniques together. Just have to figure out which one. If you do watch this and you like a particular solo, put it in the comments. I'll get notified, and maybe we'll do that one. Cool. Oh, thanks very much for watching again, and I'll see you next time for some picking on Learning Lockdown. See you soon. Bye.